It is that time of day where we take your questions from our team of experts. Today we are covering everything legal. Can employers force you to use sick time for coronavirus? What do you need for a will? Who's responsible for coronavirus safety at your job? All those questions we will cover and more. Nicole Patino, Gabe Snyder, and Justin Irvin are here to answer those questions related to workers' comp, work, and wills. I know you have plenty of questions, and we want to hear from you. You can text your questions to 336-379-5775. Now, it's important that I say this because a lot of people just don't seem to understand it. You cannot call this phone number. You have to send a text message with your question to it. So I know you want to call it, but don't call it. You've got to send a text message, 336-379-5775. So let's get right to it. I have a question here that somebody actually emailed us. This question is for Nicole. It says, my coworker was in contact with someone that tested positive for COVID-19 in a group home. The doctor said to be out for 10 days, but the employer said the note doesn't count if tested negative, and if they don't come back when asked, they won't get paid.
Yeah, at this point, if there was a negative test and that employer feels comfortable bringing that person back in, they do need to return to work, even with the note that says to stay home and quarantine. I assume the note came before the negative test results.
Someone's asking, at what point do adults need to put a will together?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Anyone at any age can benefit from having a will. As long as you're over 18 years old and competent, you can make a will. People who tend to benefit from wills are married couples or couples who are together but not married, people with minor children, people who want to benefit a family member who has a disability. It really depends on your family situation. And if you think you need a will, it'd be worth talking to an attorney to see if that would be a good solution for your situation.
Justin, how much does a will usually cost?
It's all over the place. It really varies, and it varies depending on not only the attorney's hourly rate, but it also depends on what assets you have that you want to leave to the people who come after you, and what structure you need to put around those assets. You might be able to leave assets outright to a family member just in a will, or you might need to couple a will with a trust to put some sort of structure around that, like I said, for a minor child or for a disabled beneficiary. It's really all over the place. That is a question, a great question to be one of the first things that you ask your attorney when you sit down with them to do that.
Gabe, a lot of people ask us this question. Can I get workers' comp because I get coronavirus?
So it's becoming a little bit more settled than the first time we talked about this. I think the general answer is no. I believe there's an argument, and this is kind of what I say, definitely call an attorney if you're at a risk that's more susceptible than other employers or employees. So for instance, if you're a nurse who's doing testing of COVID patients and you can track the coronavirus, I would encourage you to file a workers' comp claim, or at least consult an attorney, because you are more susceptible. You come in contact with the coronavirus more often than other employees. That might get you up to the standard for workers' comp. So that's what I would say.
We get so many questions, both through email but also phone calls into 2 Wants to Know. People almost like tattling on their employers for not, taking the proper precautions with PPE, not making sure that areas are cleaned after someone either is exposed or tests positive for coronavirus. What are the guidelines for businesses that are in these situations?
It's all over the place, and it depends on the executive orders. I just saw something, I don't know, there may be a federal mask mandate now. Don't quote me on that one, but maybe. So employees can report safety violations to OSHA, and they are investigating some of these complaints depending on what it is. You can report these safety concerns about not social distancing and not enforcing the mask mandates to the police. You can also call the local health department or the North Carolina Department of Health.
Someone's wondering, can my job make me take PTO if I get coronavirus from contact from another employee at work?
Yes, if PTO is available, and that's the policy. Last year, up until December 31st, we had the FFCRA, which provided some paid leave for employees, but that expired. There has been an incentive in this most recent package, stimulus package, and employers may, but are not required to continue that paid leave through the end of the first quarter. But that comes with a caveat. If you've gotten any paid leave before, you're not eligible. So yes, they can probably require you to take PTO.
Nicole, somebody's wondering, are employers required to provide hand sanitizer or masks or scheduled cleaning at the office?
They should provide PPE depending on where you're working and what you're doing. If they provide shields or they can social distance and put up the dividers, there's a lot of flexibility in allowing employers to do what they need to do to keep the workplace safe. So if they have hand washing stations, they may not be required to provide hand sanitizer, but they should be providing appropriate protective measures.
Justin, someone asked, I've had a will for the last 14 years. Should I go back and update it now, or can I hold off?
I always recommend to my clients that they come back and see me every 5 to 7 years, or as life events might dictate. You know, the law around wills changes occasionally, and more importantly, the tax laws behind wills. We do still have an estate tax at the federal level in this country. Those change with some frequency. And your family situation might have changed. Someone might have come into or left your family by adoption or birth, or perhaps marriage, or, you know, on the other side, divorce or death. And you want to take account of all of those things. And you might have gotten some more information, learned that one of the children in your family or an adult has a disability that you now need to account for. So it's always good to look at those sorts of things regularly.
Good information. Nicole, Gabe, Justin, one segment down, 2 to go. Keep texting us your questions, 336-379-5775.